There have been studies in the past indicating that if you have an ethnic-sounding name, you are going to have a difficult time finding a job versus those who have whitewash names. Well, José Zamora decided to do an experiment himself. Now, he was unemployed and he was having a really hard time finding a job. He claims that he was putting out between 50 to 100 job applications every single day, and he just could not find a job. No one was responding to him. So then all of a sudden he decided, you know what, maybe it would be a good idea for me to drop the S from my first name. So instead of being José Zamora, he's Joe Zamora. After that happened, he claims that his inbox was full of job requests.
Okay. Now, look, it might sound a little convenient.
It does sound very convenient.
Right. Now, we do know that there are actual studies that back up this phenomenon in general.
Yeah.
So there's a famous study where same exact resumes done by actual researchers, and they just had an African-American sounding name and a white sounding name.
Yeah.
That was the only difference.
So let me give you the results of that study. And by the way, the New York Times wrote about this back in 2009. I read the entire article again, and the results are just jarring. One much-cited study found that applicants with white-sounding names received 50% more callbacks than applicants with black-sounding names, a significant disparity.
50%. So think about that. If you just have a black sounding name, you might not even be black. If you have a black sounding name, you are in such a hole with the same exact resume. You got to dig out of that hole, and you can, right? But you got to work so much harder than the average white sounding guy, okay, in order to get a job.
So the New York Times article that I'm talking about profiled this one woman who got her master's degree. No, she got her bachelor's degree from a traditionally black university, or historically black university, I should say. I forget the name of it. But then when she was looking for jobs, she realized, okay, here's what I need to do. Get rid of my bachelor's degree, like just take that off the resume altogether. Just leave my master's degree information there because I didn't go to a historically black university for my master's degree. For her references, she made her top reference a non-black person who knows her. She changed her name a little bit, you know what I mean? And her parents were actually Black Panthers. And she was like a little ashamed while she was doing this, but her mother actually told her, your resume doesn't need to scream, I'm black. Change it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I assume that she did not put in her resume, parents were Black Panthers.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
And so did that help?
Yes, it did. It did help. She said that she got more job opportunities as a result of changing things around on her resume.
So in this case, Jose happens to be the latest guy to try this trick.
Right.
And in his anecdotal case, it turns out that it made a huge difference, right? And you take it for what it's worth, but there are a lot of studies to back it up as a general phenomenon. And it is disturbing now. Now this is a little different because that first study was about blacks versus whites. This is in the case of Latinos and whites.
Yeah, and I would love to see more studies done on this, right? Because I don't think that there's been enough research in this area. Like right now, I think that this is a product of subconscious biases. And as a result, you know, people will make decisions without realizing that their decisions could be discriminatory, you know? So
I don't think everybody who rejected Jose Zamora's resume thought, I hate Latinos and I'm not going to hire this guy. It was more whatever assumptions are lying in the back of your head about a guy named Jose. And the guys who accepted Joe Zamora's resume weren't like, I love white folks.
Yeah,
I don't even think that they thought of Joe as necessarily a white guy or any kind of guy. But again, it just on an unconscious level, it's sitting there in the back of your head, oh, this guy's probably all right.
Right. And you know, it's so funny because I mean, I wonder how this impacts people from all different backgrounds, right? Like, so if you have a super Armenian sounding name or if you have a super Turkish sounding name, how does that work against you? How does that maybe work in your favor? And I always go back to this story where I had this interview with a major news outlet and, you know, I was talking to them, they were considering a new host or whatever. Sorry. And they had mentioned, they had this long interview with me and they're like, you know, they're asking me political questions, they're asking me what I've done, my experience, and I'm like, yeah, nailing it. And then they're like, all right, so here's what we're looking for. We're actually looking for a Latina host, so we've just been wasting your time for the last hour. But it's funny because you never know, you know, how you're gonna get screwed over based on your ethnicity.
No, that's really ironic because that's reverse racism in a way.
Yeah.
And we get it. In the television business, they sometimes, based on the demographics of a particular city, they do that all the time in local news, right? Sometimes based on growing demographics in the country for a national show, they're looking for a specific ethnicity.
Yeah.
That's a little different than this situation. But there, in that particular case, Latinas do have an advantage, not only in that job, but in a lot of local news, since there's such a growing Latino population in different cities. If your name was Ana Ramirez or Ana Sanchez, boom, I mean, you would get local anchoring jobs, no problem, let alone national ones.
Maybe I need to change my name when I get married. Right?
Maybe
do you like the assumption that it's going to be a Latino guy?
Yeah. Well, we know it. So, so you have that to look forward to. Your job opportunities, but only in television, will increase if you get married to a Latino guy. But don't try applying to anything else, because then you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.